So good morning, everybody. This is Shamini Dana. I'm the founder and CEO of Dana Inc. and D-Sphere. I'm calling from San Francisco, California, and today is April 27th, 2022. Welcome to our discussion on the topic of you as the next circular fashion brand. Before we start, I'd like to always give a context and share a big picture of who D-Sphere is and why we are here. Again, this is a presentation that will be about 30 minutes, and we will then be taking question and answer sessions at the end. So do, as you follow, place your questions in the chat. And we request that you also stay mute. This is a live presentation. So Dana started in 2008 as a sustainable ethical fashion brand. In the last 14 years, we've evolved, transformed from a youth brand with actually physical clothing, organic and also sustainable, to a circular business model where we believe that the world of fashion is transforming so that each and every one of us can be change agents in the circular regenerative world of fashion. What we mean by this is, in circularity, there are 4 principles that you're already very well aware of, and business models that don't just take from the environment, make something and throw it out and it lands in the landfill. But you get to either 1, repair, resell, repair, rental, resell, and recycle. And the next one that's coming onto the scene of circular business is, in the fashion world, is repurposing clothing, which is actually another word of saying upcycling, but we use digital technology for doing so. And so in the course of the last 5 years, we've actually added technology, built a platform, and that's what D-Sphere is about. What we are doing is what we call fashion recreated. And we're giving you, the customer, the consumer, and the people of this world, anyone and everyone that wears clothing, the mechanism, the digital tools to actually drive social impact and environmental impact. In fact, what we call your unlocking creativity through personalization of fashion using second life materials and clothing. For those who may not know, every second a dump truck full of clothing ends up in the landfill. And it's about 70% of the $3 trillion industry that is fashion, that is actually called waste. And so why not take waste and make it into value? So we stopped extracting Dana from virgin. And so we decided that there was enough circulating materials in the world today, from finished product to materials that are finished, and that we would be able to take this material using technology and then using a mechanism whereby we use AI, machine learning, and eventually 3D to personalize the next fashion using the old clothing. So again, why do we exist? Why does D-Sphere exist? So if you really pause and think about it, D-Sphere is a response to us, the parent company, Dana Inc., that we truly believe that humans seek creative expression. Humans seek creative expression through not only in the medium of sound, words, food, but also through fashion, right? And so we can do this through using fashion to ensure that our creativity is actualized. Right. So the tool we have made, or the platform, is a marketplace whereby we have created a platform so that it'll empower both people to design new fashion, drive impact, but also celebrate fashion. And this is all in the notion of expression of creativity, either yourself or endorsing it for others, and collaboration. So the D-Sphere platform, if you don't know already, D stands for digital fashion in the digital world. We're in the digital world. We all know that. And sphere is symbolism for the justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion in the shared economy, right? So if you're in the sphere, if you're right in the center, you're equal distance all from the center to any point on the sphere. So that's the symbolism. How we created and what the core pillars for D-Sphere are the following. We really do believe that we can empower customers to be the solution to climate change by reducing environmental footprint through the use of second life materials. We're also in the business of transparency, as we are a certified B Corp. And we do believe that closing the last mile, giving access to the garment workers and being able to share gratitude is one of the fundamental rights of any customer and consumer in the world today. We are also providing the ability to create storytelling through fashion. And this is one of our modules called stories. And when we ask, what is your fashion story? Because we associate memories as we put on pieces of clothing and travel through the journey of life. We're all doing it, whether we're conscious or not. So fashion can be associated with memories. And finally, we are democratizing fashion because in the shared economy, we believe that customers do have a right, and the power of choice is what we are giving you. And so the future of D-Sphere is all about being the creative fashion platform where people design, impact, and celebrate fashion. So if you step back, what D-Sphere then provides is an opportunity where one template, which is a simple way of representing what you want in your piece of clothing, has a million possibilities, if not a gazillion possibilities, right? So you can think of it as notes, right? Music notes. There are only so many, but there's an infinite amount of music to be played, symphonies to be created. And you are that mechanism to create that. And so this is the same philosophy, which is if we give you, or if you generate a template, then each one of us on this earth will be able to pull resources. And these resources are actually your finished goods, right? Your old clothing, your overstock, your returns, and the waste that may have been in the landfill, but repurposing it back into a piece of garment using this platform. And so what we also do is using what we call life cycle assessment tools to provide you with the impact of you taking your clothing and utilizing second life materials and making new clothing out of old clothing, and savings in the terms of carbon emissions, water, and energy saved. If you take a look at this representation, you have two of our current products today that you'll be able to see on D-Sphere. On the left is the circular memory jacket, and the right is your regular circular fashion tee. This is a good representation of the amount of miles, glasses of water, and hours to be saved. We can share you the actual scientific results, but for the average person, this actually makes a lot of sense. So the average person uses 700 gallons of water to be able to produce a t-shirt. In this case, you just saved 700 gallons of water. Now, understand that we don't use any chemical materials. This is literally a cut, sew, and stitch process made here in the United States of America. We are focused on the United States first, but the potential is to take the software, the actual platform, anywhere in the world so it can be localized and be utilized by both customers as well as manufacturers to execute on the consumers and customers' choice. So let's get to the actual topic, which is the new circular fashion brand is you. I cannot be more excited for this topic because frankly, we're changing the landscape of the way customers truly, truly look at themselves as change agents, right? So if you step back again, pause, if you look at the average customer today, the consumer, and with the onset of the internet, right? The power of choice for every person on this earth are the following. One is you've been able to use your wallet, right, to drive what you want, even if in fashion, to endorse brands and to purchase. Number two, you've been able to take action, provide energy. You've actually taken the time to maybe resell some of your clothing or donate it. That took energy and action, conscious. These are power of your choices, right? Three, you've been able to use your voice, right, to speak up, stand up for things that you don't want, including in the fashion industry, right? Three, you've been able to get data, content, information from the web, now more than ever, exposing what's really happening behind the scenes. So causing for transparency to come to the forefront. What is the last thing that you can do that you have not had the opportunity to do? And I give you, it's your creativity, right? If you could inject your creativity, your imagination into a piece of garment that you so fit, see as an expression of yourself, or you want to gift it to a dear one or loved one, that is a powerful choice. The ability to take a journey like no other and to then dwell on the fact that, look, this had value, right? Because I put my energy, choice, my content, everything into it, and I injected that into a piece of garment. This is what D-Sphere is about. We're the culmination of the power of choices that the consumer actually has today into a piece of garment. That is why we think this is ultimately your platform. So if you look at the next generation global traveler, which is the next generation consumer, the youth of tomorrow, can I ask people to please put yourself on mute? Thank you. If you look at what circular fashion brand could be in D-Sphere platform, you're actually using Second Life materials with
if you select the participant list, you can deactivate the microphones. If you can participant.
Let's see if I can do that. I'm going to hold that for now.
Yes.
Can someone let's see. I'm trying really hard now to make sure that they can. Okay. Can somebody? Who is this? Ejofo? Okay, I think we've got it.
Yes.
There we go.
Thanks.
I apologize for that, everyone. Okay, so let's see. We are at the next generation global traveler here. So if you look at the world today, most of the youth today are looking at, putting clothes on and traveling the world to see how they can experience it, impact it. And what we have seen over and over again through our discussions in the last 14 years is the request for an ease of a collection. And so this is actually a collection that we are thinking of and actually developing, which is all about circular fashion. And each one of these pieces don't use any virgin, right? It's all about repurposing our current existing second life materials into new clothing. And the three materials that we have concentrated on is the materials that you will see mostly in the world today, right? Which is cotton, polyester, and denim. And so what we have also been able to display here is you using these templates, right? And utilizing second life materials with production here in the United States. Again, it is not restricted to the US. You can also be doing this any other parts of the world, as long as you have the three elements, which is templates, resources to second life materials, and a production house that can cut, sew, and stitch. All they do need is the actual software or the platform itself, which is what we will provide. And so you can be not only the next circular fashion brand, but also the brand with the solution to reducing environmental impact and the one that's actually promoting social justice, right? Because we do believe that consumers today have their own styles and can co-create with others with these digital tools. So how do you do this? Everyone's asking, right? So if you were to step back and look at the current platforms today in the world, you might consider something like Canva, right? Canva is for publishing, and we are the Canva of fashion design. So it's a drag drop kind of business model, a digital tool. So what we do is when you get onto dsphere.network and go into the studio module, you'll start to see this thing called the template, right? This is where the journey begins. So if you are a customer, a consumer, and you have no fashion background, but want to actually become the next circular fashion brand, you today can do so with just both of our products, which is the circular fashion tee or the circular memory jacket. And so what you end up doing is, for instance, do the prep work, which is a template with 5 panels here. Take your own resources, upload the images of t-shirts, right, that you may have. If you don't have your own, you can borrow them, buy them, purchase them from our material library that we source from vintage sources of t-shirts. And then you drag and drop it into the panels. The artificial intelligence or the system actually will be able to note where it is that you are dragging and dropping and cropping, right? So the tools are all about cropping and having the image done. Once you've done a digital design here, you can download that and share the design, the digital design, on social media for sure, or with your collaborators, and look and see if this is what you want to be to produce, right? You can also call on the world and say, look, I have 1,000 pieces of XYZ, and I'm going to be making that into new clothing, right? So do that. And then when you're done with the digital design, you send the clothing to us, and we will use our technology and our facility. Our facility is in Columbus, Ohio, and actually make the t-shirt, right? So this is a whole process that is start to finish. And it takes, if you were just to purchase this on your own, it'll take about 2 to 3 weeks to complete it to the actual order. right? But this process here, 1, 2, and 3, can be done in less than half an hour. So you can actually have a new digital design that you can share with the world, share it as a story, share it as a cause, right? And so this is the capability of you being the next circular fashion brand. Now, you would probably have questions like, what if I don't want this particular t-shirt? You know, this particular template, can I work with you on it? Yes, we can. And we're going to go into that in the next few slides. I want to also stress that Dana is a company that has embraced zero waste designs, right? So all these designs are zero waste. So what does that mean? Because we're a circular fashion brand, we adopted the 2020 fashion commitment in 2017 at the Copenhagen Fashion Summit. And the circularity principles that we adopted in 2017 is when you design something, you design it out of waste and pollution, and you can deconstruct it as well and bring it back into the system. So we asked everyone, when you've had this completed and you don't want it anymore, you can resell it back onto the system, or you can actually send it back to us and we will repurpose it again. The second principle is that we take back. So you're actually reusing second life material. So that's the whole take back program, right? The third one is you take back and then you make it into something new. And then the fourth is recycle. We actually have a partnership with Worn Again Technology where we are keeping all the scraps, right, of the clothing that is not being used finally to be recycled in the future, right? So when you recycle it, you put feedstock into a machine and then you come out using fiber. So that's one of our partnerships. We have many. The other areas where we use the scrap material is for art projects, for information and education. We also use it on our walls, right? And so we finally use it as accessory items. So nothing is wasted. It is a zero waste design. And we do that with all our clients as well. So this process, currently, when you use the template from D-Sphere, these are the two products. So this is the baseline cost of the products. It costs $49 to do the CFT, and then we have 3 different versions of the circular memory jacket. Why the difference is because our signature is 37 panels, right? The quadrant has only 1, and sorry, the baseline has only 1 and the quadrant has 4. So currently you can actually use this mechanism or this method, and you know, because it is personalization of fashion, you created it, you can charge as much as you want because that is your brand, right? And we will work with you on it. And so here are some examples of various different customers, consumers, people who have redesigned and repurposed clothing, right? So you could have a collection like this and sell it online. Again, it's all one of a kind, unique vintage. Please note that we do not promote any brand, right, on our platform, because this is Second Life Materials. And if you were to promote a brand, that's a licensing issue. And so if you go onto our platform, we do not talk about which brand we talk about. We will just say, you know, it's a upcycle vintage music tee, or it's a music tee that's in the 80s. We've been asked this question over and over again. So we have cleared this with legal, and that is good as it gets. Here is another depiction of various different circular memory jackets with various different themes. So this one here with the pretty flowers, I can tell you, this is a one of a kind. And it's actually made from Dana's vintage clothing back when we were a sustainable youth brand. So we were youth brand for kids between 5 and 12, so teens. And all our girls' dresses and tops are now being put into this particular design, right? So you can imagine on what this all could be. And so again, if you are a regular person without a fashion um, degree or technical abilities, this is a simple tool, right, to work with to become the next fashion brand. You use a template of ours, right? And these are some of the different templates that can be made into. However, if you want, you're creative, you're really into this, and you're all about developing circular fashion and becoming the next brand, work with us to develop your own template, right? And so you could be a sports junkie and saying, look, I'm all about repurposing the sports jerseys out there, right? From football to rugby to soccer to basketball. And so you could be making this and promoting the cause of both environmental and social, because you get to know the garment workers and build your brand that way, right? And so the sky's the limit. And we love the fact that creators out there are seeking ways of expressing themselves. And why not turn waste into value creation? And so what is the process of onboarding, right? So you have the template, you have materials, you have the back office and how to actually fulfill. You have the studio, a store, stories, you get to do marketing, analytics, and partners. So we will work with you on developing your own template if that is what you're looking for. Depending on the complexity, it takes anywhere from 1 to 6 months to develop this. Please understand everybody's needs are different. But here's the thing. Once you've developed your own template, there is no limit to how many times that template can be used, correct? So if your audience is 1 million people and you have a new template for a sports jersey that's branded by, you know, Mars, Jupiter, and Uranus, that's your name, then that becomes your template and people will know you by that, right? And you have a stamp to be placed there. We will also work with you on your second life materials, meaning not all templates or all pieces of garments will need the same kind of materials, right? So for instance, the circular fashion tee uses cotton polyester blend, right? We don't use suede, we don't use fur, things like that. So we will work with you on your template and what best is. We will also work with you on the process flow for the studio. What does this mean? So it's developing the numbers and the templates for the panels, right? So you can have, for instance, a circular fashion t-shirt with only 4 panels, right? 2 in the front and 2 in the back. Those things need to be set. And so we will work with you on that. And then when you want to open your own storefront on DSphere, we'll do that. And then the final 2 points are how to bring about what you do into the forefront. And that's where our stories module comes in. This is a very powerful tool where you'll be able to use as your social media platform to tell the world. And so with that, the platform then enhances your experience, enhances your ability now to look at co-branding, marketing, co-creating, partnering, and then the whole entire logistics, delivery, and analytics. But you will be the next circular fashion brand in DSphere. And so we're looking at thousands and thousands, you know, all over the world, looking at you being the voice, the influencer, right? The impact change maker. We're here to provide you the tools. And so when you look at the word impact, sustainability, and circularity, we need to go a little further. We can't stop there. What Donna truly believes is that as a valued customer and partner, you deserve the tools, data, and ability now as a circular fashion brand to report your efforts in terms of the impact. Now, the DSphere platform really does impact 9 SDGs out of the 17 in the world. We just did a webinar on that, and you're welcome to look at it. And so you can imagine yourself as the next circular fashion brand having similar impact for SDGs. Now that's very powerful. Tools that you'll be able to show and collaborate with your own communities and network. As a B Corp ourselves, our mission is to empower all stakeholders. And who are stakeholders? Stakeholders are our customers, our people, our friends, right? Just like you, next circular fashion brand. So we will give you the opportunity to also learn from us to become the next B Corp if you want, right? But we are going to join forces in a very conscious way so that we can build more of this stakeholder capitalism, right? The whole B Corp movement is where we value people and planet every step of the way in the same level playing field so that we together collectively can really tackle not only waste in the world, but impact climate justice, right? We all want to be solutions, time is ticking. So this particular model of repurposing clothing has one of the biggest solutions in the world in fashion when it comes to repurposing clothing. And these tools are going to be used by many brands all over the world because it is really powerful. So you as a consumer can be that brand. So joining D-Sphere will give you the tools and reporting capabilities to showcase yourself as an agent of change and to be part of a community of brand towards net zero 2030. Yes, you heard that right. Dana Inc. is a signatory to the net zero 2030. So you'll join us in powering through and fueling this movement. So we want you to reimagine a world of fashion where value alignment exists between customers, brands, garment workers, and all stakeholders. This is a huge deal. Back in 2019, we issued a report called the Where Our Values Report. You can go take a look at that. We surveyed the world, over 5,000 respondents in 97 countries responded to that survey. And they basically had one real point to make. And that is we need value alignment between what brands are saying and what customers want, right? But we're taking it one step further, and that is we're including the garment workers. That means all stakeholders. And so we are walking the talk. We've heard the people of the world, and we're saying we're giving you the platform and the tools. And so today I can safely say you can get onto D-Sphere without registering now, digitally designing, right, and sharing your cause or your impact with the world. And so we are democratizing fashion, and we truly believe that this is the new world of fashion where we all co-create. We need to co-create so that we together become a force for good, right? It's not just brands coming up with designs and making the work happen. No, we both. And these are tools now in place that we can do so. So welcome to D-Sphere, where fashion recreated is a power of choice. Thank you. And so with that, we'll take questions, and we welcome you to really get creative, to look at your ability to use your imagination. And don't wait, go play on our platform, right? So we seek your collaboration. We invite you to join us on this journey and make this a reality where customers actually are the powerhouse. Thank you. So do we have any questions?
Hello. I have a question I was going to put in the chat, but it's short, so I'll just ask it orally instead. How do you see this working, or do you see this working with a micro brand, like a micro eco fashion brand? Because you're talking very large numbers, like potentially millions of customers, and like that's not my goal.
So you're saying that can micro brands actually use this platform? Is that your question?
Yes.
Yes, we do not discriminate between brands.
Oh
Right?
no, I know you wouldn't, but I mean, in terms of, you know, the entire package of offerings that you have, from the platform to the design and everything in between, it just if one is interested in starting an eco micro fashion brand, I'm just wondering if perhaps what you have would be in excess of what's required. Or in other words, your tools are very powerful, and
Yes.
you can see that they would definitely allow someone with the right strategy and tactics to scale up and become really big. But I mean, if that's not a goal of one of your customers who is a business, like, do you think that would still work? Would it be feasible, like economically, time-wise, all of that?
Yeah, so this is a very individual need for sure, right? Not everybody wants to be a $100 million company for sure.
Mhm.
So we will work with you on that. Again, you know, we're just starting out ourselves. The platform has just launched and it's actually going out. The press release will go out this week on non-login information. And so we are in beta. This is to paint the picture of the potential of a tool like this. And so we don't have all the answers, definitely not so.
Fair enough.
And so this is not only a direct to consumer play, but in order to have the magnitude of impact so that we can galvanize all the customers in the world to start utilizing their clothing and second life materials into new clothing, you know, the brands also have to adopt the technology, right? So there's a huge B2B play so that customers can also start designing and then, you know, use the brand's platform. So it'll be white labeled. This particular webinar is for those who may be interested in creating their own brand. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you for that question.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? So I know some of the questions we've had in the past, and some people have actually sent it to me before I was rattling off because they couldn't make it. I wanted to make sure that any one of you have immediate questions here, right? And so with those three materials that we're looking at immediately, which is denim, cotton, and also cotton polyester blend, there have been questions to say, look, Shamini, there are also the silk, right? There is what you call it, the whole entire industry with organic. And then there's also, you know, blends that are using food waste. Where's the potential for that, right? And so, you know, we don't discount the fact that there is a huge amount of materials in the world that can use this platform as long as the template is there. And so my response to that is pause for a moment and think about, this is basically a template, right? And so if you were to look at home goods, for instance, if you looked at the quilt, a blanket with 12 different squares on it, right? A pillowcase, a cushion, right? These are all templates that can be formed using different materials. So now you can start looking at it from canvas, right? You can have curtains, you can have tote bags, right? As long as there are three things. There's the whole material section, there's a customer base that is looking to repurpose and want to be part of the creativity, and there's a production house, right? We're not saying that we're going to be the production house for all of these things. we're working with production houses. So here are the scenarios of different customers that we're looking at as well, besides the perfect customers like yourself. So when it comes to brands, they have production houses in the world, they have their customer base, and they also have templates. So what they would be wanting is actually the tools, right? So we would work with brands like that. When we come to talk to resellers, you know, like just doing vintage clothing, right? And they have super users that are reselling on their platforms, right? We are saying you already have the feedstock, the materials, you have the customers, right? You may not have the production house, which will be ours, but we will work with you on a template so that your super users now can take their resale items and make it into new clothes and then sell it again on your platform as a reseller, right? And then you have the brands that don't have anything but customers because they outsourced it to the developing countries to make their production, right? And then they also use materials. So they want to get into circularity and they want to get into sustainability. So we will work with you on templates. We'll make it here in the United States, correct? You have your customer base and we'll have the tools. So understand with the global supply chain today being cut, the fact that prices are escalating, right? And that trying to get material overseas is going to cost you a lot. This tool is going to be the powerhouse for tomorrow so that here in the United States, you're actually not only supporting jobs, right? But you're utilizing materials that are already in circulation, right? Preventing them to go from the waste, but yet repurposing it into new clothing, right? And so the future is about each continent now in the world repurposing their own existing clothing in production sites. And when I say production, we're talking about your tailor, your cut and sew studio, right? So if you were in India, there are many of them, and there's a ton of clothing there. You know, the folks in India could be just repurposing it in India itself. What we're lacking here is the will, right? And the imagination. And I would say the youth of today, having talked to many hundreds of them, are willing to take the bet that this is the next thing, right? So they're already reselling this vintage, it's out there. Now let's make personalization of fashion using current existing ones. We have the tools, we're just launching it. So join us in this movement. I hope this has been informational. We want you to talk to us, get on the platform. Sheldon will place here the email. If you have any thoughts, let us know. And Sheldon, I'd like to invite you to maybe say a few words about the journey of the templating and maybe what you think maybe some of the ideas. So Sheldon's our fashion designer. So she works with pattern makers. You know, she actually works with the whole design team to making this happen. Sheldon?
Yeah, so I worked on the t-shirt and the jacket that you saw in the presentation. So our process was kind of to design and make the patterns and make them digital to upload them onto the website. You can crop them. The website knows the size of the patterns and the size of the pieces that you're looking at, so it can be accurately done online. And we have our production house that we partner with here in Columbus, Ohio. And I work with them to help get everything created. So if you were to make your own, I could work with you to design the patterns. If you don't know how to do any fashion design related things, I can help there. I can help make the 3D models to put on the website, or whatever you need. We have the resources to put that together.
Great. Remember, one design, again, right? I mean, this does cost money for sure, but remember, one design, one template, which could be your very own design that you love. And again, many sizes, you know, you could have many sizes, could change the face of culture. It's happened many times before, right? And you could have an idea that could be so compelling, right? So the person who came up with the shirt that was the oversized shirt, right, all the way down to your knees, became the person who ended up doing, a huge favor. And especially in India, we have what we call the kurta. It looks like the oversized shirt, right? So my point being is that the sky's the limit when it comes to imagination, and get creative. I think this is the fun time to be creative. So I know we are at the 10:50 mark here in California. And does anyone else have any other questions, comments? Was this helpful? Feel free to drop us a line, say it on your comments. Also, what else would you like to see in the world today? We'd love to hear from you again. So on that note, we have one last webinar coming up on May 11th, right? And that is going to be our announcement of our global challenge, global art challenge. And this is going to be extraordinarily fun. And we hope that all of you take part. Stay tuned. It will be in social media. And then we'll take a break this summer and resume back our D-Sphere series in fall, inviting our partners and others to see what's new, and also to discover some of the latest new templates. And we're going to be highlighting some of our brands we'll be working with. And then stay tuned because there'll be more features to come, right? So thank you, Yasmin. I appreciate the vote of confidence there. She said, brilliant concept, love the circularity and repurposing, remaking, reselling. Yes, thank you. We all believe that, if we can collectively just do our part, that power of choice is what we need to address in the world today when it comes to our climate change challenge. So with repurposing of clothing, we know that we can propel a new way of thinking in terms of looking at the way we value our clothes and also to storytell. Yeah. Okay, on that note, enjoy the rest of April, and we will see you on the other side. Thank you very much for all your attention, your enthusiasm, your creativity, and your vote of support. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.